Now that could take you the best part of 2020. Hi everyone, it's Cheryl. Welcome back to my YouTube machine and happy New Year's Eve. Can you believe it's New Year's Eve? It is one of my favorite times of the year. I'm not that fussed about Christmas, as you might have gathered from the last video. Not that fussed about it. But New Year, I really love. And so it seemed appropriate to talk about preparing for partnership in 2020. Now, before we do that, I am going to take you through 3 steps to prepare for partnership in 2020, but I do want to add a caveat, and the caveat is this: New Year's resolutions are bullshit and they generally don't work. 93% of people do not follow through with their New Year's resolutions. Now, I'm going to assume you're in the 7% that do, and/or this is not about New Year's resolutions. This is simply about you making a choice to change this dynamic that's been going on, right? To change this dynamic, to break this cycle that you've been in love. And there are 3 ways that you can do it. And it's not the 3 ways that I usually talk about. It's not what's your pattern, where did it come from, how do you heal it? It's not that. There's 3 different ways. This is very different to gaining power over your dating drama, although there is an element of that. So the first thing you need to do to prepare for partnership in 2020. Before I do that, let's just get really clear on what I mean by partnership. This means the relationship you're looking for. This means the romantic relationship, the partner, the life partner that you're going to build with. So preparing for partnership is getting yourself ready for that. Just like you would get land ready to build on, you would excavate and you would get a lay of the land and you fucking wouldn't build on quicksand. You would design the house. Before you were building the house, you'd know what you wanted the house to look like. You'd know how many doors you would want, how many windows, how many bedrooms. You would do all of that jazz, all of that planning, so you knew what you were building. And it's the same thing here. And frankly, too many people are picking out throw cushions for their proverbial house before they've even dug the foundations. What that means in non-metaphorical language is that most of you are trying to do the dating strategy without doing the deep inner work first. So you're thinking, okay, I need to listen to all these dating experts and say all these perfect lines and wear this perfect outfit and go to this place and act in this way and pretend to be like this to win this person, to get him, to claim him, etc. It's like people are not prizes. We're not trying to win them. We're not at the carnival trying to win like a plush frog from that hook a duck thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Maybe you don't have that anywhere else anywhere else other than England. But nevertheless, we're not trying to win people. They're not prizes. We're not prizes. We're all human beings with thoughts, feelings, emotions. We're all souls, all of this, right? It's not about that. It's not about picking out the proverbial throw cushions before you've even got the walls in on the house. It's about getting a lay of the land first, and that means taking a look at yourself, which leads me to step number one, which is clear the decks. Clear the decks, which is exactly what we were just talking about. Clear the decks means look at your relationship patterns. Look at the areas in love where you've been really tripping yourself up, right? Now, I have a lot of content on this. I have videos on this, so definitely binge on my YouTube channel or go over to my Instagram. It'll be linked in the description down below. There's loads and loads of information on this that I've created as a body of work over the past little bit. What I will say here though is it's about looking at, and I've already alluded to this, it's about looking at what is your pattern in relationships. What is it that you keep doing? Is it clinging to people? Is it obsessing about people? Is it choosing people that don't really want you? What is the pattern? The second thing is, where did that come from? Now, that's simple, but it's not easy to establish without the use of a coach or a counselor. So you might need to hire someone. If you'd like to work with me, that would be fabulous. Please feel welcome to reach out. It is about figuring out where that came from. In other words, how is that familiar to you? These patterns are not accidents. It's no accident that you're choosing unavailable men when you didn't meet your dad till you were 11, right? That inner child, that inner little girl or little boy, depending on your gender, that inner child is trying to close the loop on that story, is trying to end that pain by finding a man that reminds her of her unavailable dad, or it could be mother, but usually dad. Finding someone who reminds her of him with this mantra of maybe it'll be different this time. Maybe it'll work out differently this time and he'll finally love me and I'll finally be good enough. But it never works that way. Never works that way. It just results in you choosing these people over and over again and it feels like shit. So that's the second step, is where does it come from? What's the pattern? Where does it come from? Once you found out where it comes from, how do you heal it? How do you heal it is going to be coaching, counseling, meditations, journaling. Another thing that's very healing is getting into healthy relationships, being around people that are emotionally healthy, people that have been in therapy, people that don't use you, lie, manipulate, say they're going to do one thing and they do another, all that kind of shit. So that is a lot, but that is step one, is clear the decks. Now that could take you the best part of 2020 to do step one, clear the decks. And if that's the case, that is amazing. That means you're really doing the deep work. There is no shortcut to this. For people like us that have these relational wounds, there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. Certainly working with a coach or a counselor can absolutely accelerate that, but it's still going to take time. It's still going to take a little bit of time to move through that. Right, it is. Step number 2, decide what you want. This might sound really obvious, but if you don't know what it is that you want in a relationship, you're not going to find it. It's going to be very, very difficult to get what you want if you don't know what you want and state what you want. Now, what I would recommend is, instead of going, oh, they've got to be tall and have blue eyes and they've got to wear a blue suit and they've got to be in finance. Hello, this used to be one of my prerequisites. That type of mind wasn't working out so well for me. It's very different today. What I want and the qualities I'm looking for are very different than what I used to want. It has a lot to do with honesty and integrity and compassion and drive and devotion than it does being smart and sexy, And that's been part of my growth and my evolution, and maybe that's part of yours too. Challenge yourself to look at someone beyond your type. Sometimes your type is a trauma bond, right? Sometimes your type is a trauma bond. Maybe I'll talk about trauma bonds in another video, but it feels familiar because, as we mentioned before, you had a parent who was like that. So the first relationships we form as people is when we're children, and we form those relationships with our parents. So the relationship we have with our parents early on very much influences the relationships that we have as adults. So I challenge you to decide that you want something different than what you've been going for, because my question to you would be, how's it been working out for you, that type that you have? It's not been working out so well, right? So get really clear on that and challenge yourself to look for the qualities rather than the package of a person. Those qualities can come in different shapes and sizes. Doesn't mean you're not attracted to them. That's not what I'm suggesting. Attraction, I believe, physical attraction, is really, really important factor in relationships. Of course it is. Otherwise you'll be friends if you're not attracted to each other. But it's got to be a lot deeper than that. It's got to be a lot deeper than that. And you've got to, at least I hope, want qualities in someone that's a little deeper than just what's on the surface. Step 3 is date yourself. This might sound a bit weird, but there's method in my madness. Dating yourself looks like giving yourself what it is that you need. So being really in tune with your own needs, being in tune with what's good for you, doing what's good for you, really loving and respecting yourself. And I know, oh God, if I hear love yourself, self-love one more time, I swear to God, it sounds like so much bullshit the way that it's talked about. Like, not that affirmations are bullshit, they're not, but it just, the narrative seems to be, say some affirmations and then you'll love yourself. Loving yourself is Love is a verb, it's a doing word. And so it's about what you're doing to yourself. Like, are you keeping yourself awake at night when you should be getting an early night? Are you knocking back food and drink that you know isn't good for you when you really want food that nourishes you? Are you doing things that really dishonor you? Like, you say you're going to move towards your goals, then you do something that sabotages it. Loving yourself is a very active thing. And so by date yourself, what I mean is treat yourself as you want to be treated. And that doesn't just mean go out and buy yourself flowers and get your nails done, although that might be part of it. But it's like, be really connected to what you need. Like, you know, you can, in fact, you can ask yourself, just close your eyes, put your hands on your heart and just ask, what do I need? What do I need? And just wait for the answer. And if you're not used to doing that, if that's a new thing for you, then just give it some time and be patient. The answer is usually quiet and subtle, but it's also very direct. It's usually a word. So you might hear something like rest, or nourishment, or love, or reassurance, or excitement. You know, what is it I need? What do I need? And you can do that anytime. You know, I mean, you don't necessarily do it on the train and say it out loud, what do I need? You know, be reasonable and sensible about it, but you can just ask yourself, you don't even have to close your eyes, you can just internally ask yourself, what do I need? Just get quiet for a second and listen to that. And that's how you tune into what you need. And that's how you build that relationship with yourself. And that's what I mean by date yourself. So often we're looking for that person to save us. Oh, I'm going to find true love. Well, yeah, but if you don't like yourself, then you can meet the best person ever, but ultimately, if you don't really like yourself, that's not going to be a healthy dynamic, because you're going to be looking at them to make you feel a certain way when that's not what a healthy relationship is. Those 3 things again: 1, clear the decks, do the deep inner work, find out what your patterns are in relationships, where they come from, and then go ahead and heal those patterns, heal the core root of that pattern. I've got loads and loads of work on this, guys. It's all over the YouTube machine, all over my Instagram, my Facebook. So the links are all down below. So have a freaking field day and go large and watch them all, consume it all. Put my name into the podcast app. Most of my private clients that come work with me will say, I listen to your podcast a good 2 or 3 times before I chose to work with you. Like, absorb all the information you can that's out there. It's free. Have it. Absorb it all. The second is decide what you want. Like, make an actual list. Make a list of the qualities you're looking for in a partner. Try and make this have some depth. Don't make it about looks if you can. Make it about the qualities of the person. And the third and final factor was date yourself. Date yourself. Treat yourself the way that you want to be treated. We can't expect other people to meet our needs if we don't know what our needs are. And we can't do that until we go through this process of asking ourselves, what do I need? And giving ourselves that and honoring that and doing the things that are good for us and not doing the things that sabotage us. Treating ourselves well, nourishing ourselves. That's also the process of reparenting ourselves, which is very, very healing, which feeds into step 1, clear the decks. Also, I just want to say, there's no skipping out the steps here. You know, if you really want to do this, it's about doing the deep inner work. It's about deciding what you want. And then it's about really having a relationship with yourself first, because that's going to set the tone of how everyone treats you. Not just the people that you're in a romantic relationship with, just not the people you just go on dates with or find on a dating app or whatever. It's everyone in your life. It's people that you meet in passing. It's people that you work with. It's your friends, your neighbors, your family, everyone. When you have a solid relationship with yourself, how everyone else treats you will change. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. One quick thing before I go. So I do have a Boxing Day sale on. So if you are ready to go deeper with this work, then my courses and digital programs will help you do just that. The details are down below, and the code for the 20% off is LOVEIN2020. I wish you all the very best and Happy New Year.